win this battle. Let's go.
Come on, Storm. Back to work.
Must hurry, okay? People are dying. See you down there.
All right, we all have our assignments. 2 stones uptown, 1 stone down. Stay low, keep an eye on the clock. Maybe smash a few things along the way.
I think it's gratuitous, but whatever.
Well done, everybody. We can collectively take credit for that because we worked as a team. We used our hearts and our minds to defeat the enemy with minimal loss or damage.
Take me far away.
I got a message for all of them, right? Shake and bake.
What does that do? Did that blow your mind? That just happened. Shake and bake.
Yeah.
What? Shake and bake. Hold on.
Shake and bake.
Yeah.
What does that mean? Makes no sense. So to shake and bake.
Namaste and like catch my family and welcome. I'm here with my brother from another mother, Mr. David Palmer. David, what up, brother? How are you?
What is up, bro? I mean, we were just at the eclipse, but
I know.
We're coming into July. What a time portal.
No, for sure. It's definitely been a time portal. I mean, there's been so much that's happened since then. And, you know, looking back on it, that really was an important event. And just being there, not only, you know, supporting Texas, but actually supporting, you know, all the light workers and light warriors out there. It meant a lot. And I felt like that was a very special, you know, conference. Honestly, that's not going to happen for what, another 100 years, or I don't forget what it was, but it ain't going to be like that for a very long time. I think it was a long time.
It's a long time. The next one that comes way up. Like it just barely hits America. It like goes through like North Dakota. Like,
right.
You know, I mean, hey, as light workers, we're down to go, but you know, it's not, you know, it's a different thing and it's a long time away.
Yeah, it's a long time away. I think the thing I do feel the next big solar eclipse, I think it's in Egypt, like Luxor, like 2027. I felt like that might be a cool one to go to. We'll go together.
The most epic.
That would be the most epic, like the pyramids, and then like, oh, that's like some ancient juju, you know?
Yeah, that'll be. I'll go look at that astrology sometime and plan that out for us, because that would be like grid work to show up prior to like we just did, right? Like you
right, no, 100%.
That grid work right before, but I would say that one would be like, I have goosebumps because I'm like, that would be like,
yeah, I'm one of my
sure that we're not just a relic anymore, like
yes.
the pyramids.
Yeah, I know. Just to make sure that we're still here doing things, right? We're like living in some alternate reality.
Right.
But no, I wanted to do two of my interviews with you because I feel in the collective consciousness right now and with what everyone's going through and how there's so many things going on globally, you know, not only with politically, financially, but obviously militarily. You know, I just wanted to kind of reach out to you and then obviously get some of the astrology and get some of the alignments that are happening right now and kind of maybe talk about the last time in, you know, recently in last, you know, recent times, at least 100 years. When's the last time we've gone through this sort of alignments and what happened last time?
It's a great question. I would say you can't use the last 100 years. We have to go back 165 years for the Civil War, Neptune at the very end of Pisces.
Right.
Abraham Lincoln gets elected and states start to go, you know what? We don't want to do that. We have our own state convention. We're going to pull out of the Union. And then a bunch of the southern states pull out. So there's the divisive energy that comes and Neptune at the end of Pisces, which that's unconscious and conscious energy, right? You have to see that. So we have to kind of remember that on the grander scale. It feels divisive, but the irony is we're all the same and we have more common views than we actually think. But then you add the Pluto transit, which of course was in 1776 through 1777. into
Mhm.
78, which we're in right now, as if it was 2023 into 2024. And we're at that same place with the Revolutionary War at the same time that the Civil War transits. So that's why it feels so, it's like the compression right now, like time wave zero, like on how
Right.
back then when Terrence McKenna was doing that work and
Mhm.
plotted 2012, like 2012 happened, but he passed away before then to continue that. Like it's like gone into like the negative, in my opinion, like,
Yeah.
which is
It's
not a bad thing.
right.
I think that the big thing here is the illusions that are happening. Let's call it and say that the dark, every cycle uses this for their advantage. But the secret that they don't want people to know is Saturn, which is in Pisces too, is going to meet with Neptune, but they're not
Mhm.
going to meet in Pisces. They're going to meet in Aries, meaning they can't get away with this illusion. Only way for them to get away for it is people keep falling for it. Like, and a lot of it means and it might be controversial. I would say 80% of what we're seeing in the media and the news is completely like like set up, green screen, not really happening.
100%.
Okay.
100.
Like and I
Yeah.
know that might sound crazy, but I've been doing it myself. You can go on all the major news networks. Like,
Yeah.
sorry, that homeboy wasn't in France at Normandy. There was like, there's glass on his teleprompter and he's on a stage. Like, what is
Yes.
going on?
Right.
So why are we as a collective so afraid of like that? Obviously, there's something so weird going on that they literally have to green screen a scene
Mhm.
and make people believe it. So when it comes to the military stuff, I think that people have to remember, one, it's all the illusions and that they play this game right now astrologically where it's like it's partly religious. Unfortunately, this is
Mhm.
dealing with the religious aspect of things is really coming into the my team against your team.
Mhm.
Your team's the bad spiritual team and my team's the good spiritual team, but we all
Mhm.
come to the same place.
Right.
The other thing is we're fighting two battles as light workers. We're fighting this illusion and waking people up.
Mhm.
But the other is that there's this truth. Now it's really weird. We just saw Jupiter come into Gemini. Last time that happened was 2012. It's every 12 years.
Okay.
And I don't know if you remember because you were on the team back then. I
Yeah.
was. There's not a lot of people were talking about 2012. Like
No.
it was like used as what? A movie that the world was going to end.
Yeah.
Like people didn't get it, right? So to get
No.
the message out right now is it's kind of that same energy where it's like some people have kind of gotten tired over the last 4 years and been like, I just am like, I don't want to hear anything more. So it's
Right.
like let me put my head in the sand, kind of like I'm a flamingo down in Florida. Ha!
Mhm.
Right? Instead of being like the other part that we're fighting is like to talk about stuff. We're dealing with people and having to get the info out and then make it through one layer of the illusion and go,
Right.
okay, next time if they take the truth, it'll get through another layer of illusion. It's not like you can pierce through the illusion of people who really are on it. So there is this like kind of quantum element of Pluto coming back into Aquarius, which it will in November, ironically,
Okay.
for this
November.
whole entire crazy
Right.
show that we're going to see in the world,
Mhm.
is that we have to find ways to kind of get like how many videos have you done? And
Bro,
you can't
a
count, right?
lot.
You can't
I
count.
I can't give you a number. A lot. I've deleted hundreds and hundreds of
Correct.
videos, and yeah.
So how do we get the collective to go all that information in a tight, instant package that wakes people up? Very
Right.
difficult, but that's where I feel AI comes in.
Mm.
And it's kind of a controversy because there's so many people in the spiritual community either for or against it. So we're seeing a divide in that.
Right.
And that's where, to me, I'm on the for side because I'm like, I'm going to use this stuff to help people get info. Like they can't go watch my 41,000 hours of content. 41,000 hours. It's 4 years worth of, if I were to be sitting there for 4 years, which actually I did, it's kind of crazy. And like, how do I get it to people to understand, whether it's through making, I just launched a new AI app for astrology. Like, I could ask anything and it will predict the future for me in a positive way or help me understand what's happening, right?
Right.
People, we're gonna have to find new ways of technology just as they're using weird technology to mess with people, we have to do the inverse. And that's what the astrology says.
Right. I'm feeling like more like, I think a lot of people, as far as the information, the resources, and obviously using data in very dynamic and collaborative ways to actually retrieve information very quickly. Yeah, artificial intelligence is fantastic. I think what a lot of people are more spooked about is how, like I said, that's the positive motivation, right? Helping people learn faster. Okay, fantastic. Well, the issue is that on the flip side is, how is that information going to be used against a targeted individual, or how is that information going to be used? So again, information is just information. It's how it's used. You know what I mean? So, you know, when I hear the stories of how our routers, the Wi-Fi routers, they have a technology where they can scan in the house where you are. That's a little weird, dude. I've seen Instagram videos of, like, you know, products sometimes we buy from overseas, and they're talking to Chinese cloud servers. And you bought a vacuum cleaner, you know, and it's inside your home network. Like, what? So what I'm getting to is, I just think this, these negative functions of how, I guess, that technology is being utilized, I feel can be detrimental. Now, here's where we are right now. I kind of feel like we think we're so advanced, right? There's a part of me that still thinks like we're still at the technology level of like Sega Genesis. Like, I don't know, like, I don't know if it's like early 90s. Like, we think like, oh, this is advanced. I'm like, dude, 10 years from now, it's bat. You know what I mean? It's going to be nuts. So I think that, should there be certain things put in place to protect the population? Yes, because what's happening is, I think a lot of the older generations, you know, that are having more of a harder time adapting to the change, let's just say, they're more like, get rid of it all. You know what I mean? You talk to a 70-year-old, they're like, yo, whatever. You know, they're like, I don't want to deal with that, because it's forcing a lot of people to have to relearn things. Do you see what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, it's like, you can't just do it the same way. And I think that, you know, as part of the population moving forward, and like I said, this conversation was not about the AI thing. I think there's a lot of cool stuff you can do with the AI stuff, right? That's all I'm saying. Yeah.
Interesting that the astrology, though, is showing that's the wild card, with Pluto going back into Capricorn September 1st, and then coming back at the end of November to stay in Aquarius for 20 years. And Aquarius rules technology just so much as Gemini does. Gemini rules computers, though, and it rules like how the information's exchanged quick. Aquarius is like the evolution of the technology, and also the stuff that we, you know, comes quantum and out of nowhere quick, like out of, but really has been behind the scenes, been working, and finally connects to a bigger level. But it's weird, because when you think about, when you were just bringing up the older generation, we're at Pluto and Aquarius. Opposite of that is Leo. So the Pluto Leos, which you just said, the people in their 70s, their late 60s. Whenever that happens in astrology, it's when you're in your opposite generation. Like, it's an example would be, we are the same generations of the founding fathers. Like, Abraham Lincoln was a Pluto, or sorry, not Abraham Lincoln. George Washington was a Pluto and Libra. That's what you are. That's what I am, right? Benjamin Franklin was a Pluto Leo. He adapted. So the oldest of all the founding fathers, Benjamin Franklin, he was the only old dude. Everyone else was in their 20s and 30s and like early 40s.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, that's cool. Benjamin Franklin, I don't know if you know, but that guy was a pimp. Like, all the ladies.
He was a good, yeah.
He was a ladies' man. He was like doing all the coding. He was the printer, knew how to print. He was doing the money. And he was the main delegate that went all the way out to France and got the treaties to get the French to help. Like, that guy was not complaining about the times.
No, he made some moves. He was making moves.
Right, exactly. So what happens with generations, like for you and I, when Pluto comes into Aries, that'll be a long time. But when it does, that'll be like, okay, we feel like we're not in the same
reality.
Understand this generation, right?
Yeah,
a long time, because Pluto through Libra and Scorpio is the fastest. The longest is through Aries, Taurus. Like, it takes so long to get these signs. So, you know, we're part of the fastest generation.
I like that. We're the generation of like the founding fathers. That's so cool.
We literally are. But
the same time.
But that's where, you know, I've been having to help people through this, because I'm an optimist, but at the same time, I'm also like, how can we help the collective and be aware of warning signs? Like, the Pluto Sages, which are the Gen Z kids, right? The kids born in the 2000s.
Right.
late 90s. Like, where were they during the Revolutionary War? They're the ones who fought the war.
Whoa.
Because when you have Pluto and Sag, Pluto represents change, but it represents other people, like other people's desires, or
Got you.
or what somebody else that you want something from, right? Like Pluto's like, oh, if you want somebody in life, I'm attracted to that person. I want that outside energy that I emotionally value.
Right.
So when you have the generation of Pluto Sag, it's not your belief and journey, some other person's journey for you.
I think when
Based on the belief structure. So like the Revolutionary War was this belief idea that all the Pluto and Sag generation went and fought the Revolutionary War.
it's kind of crazy that you heard about they were trying to, release the draft here in the United States.
They just approved
They
it.
they approved it. So that's very interesting. So I had this conversation the other day, and the main thing I realized was like, the Revolutionary War and the Civil War, you know what I mean? With the different states that were fighting each other, right?
Yeah.
Right now, though, how I feel is like there are a lot of people in California that aren't about supporting, Bidenomics. You know what I mean? There's a lot of there. So even in the Civil War, maybe you did have a separation of different states that really did want different things. Right now, when I stare at the United States, I don't see that. You know what I mean? Like they try to group us in red and blue states, and that's not from the people on the ground. That's not really what it is. I know there's a huge Republican population in Huntington Beach and Orange County, and like
California has more people who voted Republican in all the elections than 5 states combined.
That's what I'm talking about.
So then, of course, right now, I mean, California, everybody left. Right. So it's the only state that's lost everybody. And you grew up here.
I was born and raised there.
We were used to in the 90s, like they used to have people crossing. Look out for the illegals crossing the road, like on the freeway.
No, in the San Diego, it had like signs. Yeah, straight up.
That's not happening anymore.
Right.
They all left.
There's no crossing.
Here, but then they leave through California and go east.
Wherever. Yeah.
They don't stay here. That's the irony. Like that, I can't, that's all gone.
Yeah.
Everybody's gone. It's really
so
weird.
you still being out there. I mean, I was born and raised out there. All my homies, high school, grade school, middle school, a lot of my homies are still out there. So what's your temperature gauge? Because I know you're out of LA, kind of where your studio was. Now you're kind of more in HB, which I resonate with, which is a different vibe. It's not the same. It's not LA. It's a completely different vibe in OC, Newport, and obviously Huntington Beach. So what I'm getting to, what's the vibe out there? What are people like on the streets? What are they thinking? Like, I'm just trying to say, because I want to do this for the whole planet. From here to South Africa, people are like, what is California feeling right now? Like, you're there. So what's the vibe?
I mean, in Orange County, right, which is right south of LA, put it this way. Trump's plane was in our air show 7-8 months ago. So, people in Orange County, through the first revolt against this whole, pandemic, right? We were the first city in the world. Look it up online. Huntington Beach, right? It was also the first place that had restaurants where we said, if you took the shot, you can't come in.
Whoa. Yeah, I remember all that stuff.
So this is like stronger hold of freedom than any other place. That's the irony.
Right.
Right. And it's the first city in America to literally say no mandates for anything.
Really? HB was.
Look, and somebody could look it up right now. Like,
that's dope. I like that.
It's never been more chill. Like the energy is so California normal, like beautiful, like.
Okay, so it's all just being projected around so when you're on the ground there, it's chill.
Correct. So I'll give you a good astrology example. In 1848, Neptune came into Pisces. It left 1860. What happened in California in 1848 to 49? The gold rush.
Yeah.
So in 2010 and 2011, everybody was rushing. I need to be in California. I need to be.
I know it's real.
I need to be a YouTube star and a reality star and right. And at the end, all the people who couldn't find gold but fool's gold left.
Right. It's true.
Same things happened all over again.
Same
but the people who
cycle.
stayed, like Levi's, right? It was like, it wasn't about the gold for Levi's.
Right.
And they became the biggest company like in America.
Oh, yeah, don't get me wrong. I mean, just the amount of people that live in California, it's kind of hard to fathom how many people live in Cal or did. I don't know. But like I said, even with those people that left, you know,
Yeah.
I think really triggered a lot of people was it wasn't just the lockdowns. It was very authoritarian with those lockdowns. If you were over 65, you weren't allowed to leave the house. I know we weren't in that category, but that's what they were saying.
Well, not one sheriff in California for every county allowed that. So
Right.
you fell for it.
Yeah, if you believe
Or
that
not.
news, yeah, if you believe that news thing. So that's interesting. So
So the only sheriffs you heard publicly make speeches against any governor and told the people, we will not arrest you, live your lives.
was that
go to your-
Riverside?
right? That was Riverside, then Orange County Sheriff. But
yeah.
then LA too.
Really?
Yeah, it was. That's the thing is like being a Californian, living here and watching it, and then seeing everybody make all this stuff up about like, oh, they're doing. It was just people falling for the spell.
Yeah, that's what I'm really trying to pull apart here is what is being projected from that control system and then what's the actual reality on the ground. And that's why I think you're the perfect diode to go, I'm here, that's bullshit. I'm here, no one believes that. It's good to have this cross reflection because, you know, people, yeah. So that being said, what do you feel is coming? Like, let's do this. You can go and then I can go. But I'm saying, what do you feel is coming?
I just did a little. So what has been your downloads that you've been getting? Because mine has been, like I said, there's the biggest illusion right now that's been working already, but they're kicking it higher to where I'm freaking watching TV and it's green screen. They're not in Normandy. They're not in that place. They're not.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can say
I will do a debate with anybody. I know that you and I probably agree.
Yes.
But anybody who is trying to tell me that these people aren't these places, I will go on YouTube, on the MSNBC, on the CNN video and show you that they're too blurry and the background and there's no, it's all, you can see
it's cheesy chromo key.
It's horrible.
It's horrible
all time.
Yes. So what I can say is that there's a good thing to know with the chromo keying and the fake green screen and everything is that someone's running out of money.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they think about it in a budget way. Maybe 10 years ago, they could have sent that diplomat, flew him over there first class on a private jet, and he could do his little spiel in front of a camera for 5 minutes. Now they don't have any money to do that. So they're artificially doing it in a studio. So that's a good thing for change. Number two, a lot of the political systems and a lot of things, you know, I like to think that Americans really do feel that like the world revolves around us in some ways. But I can say with this BRICS, this new financial situation that's coming out and how the Saudi Arabia had dropped the petrodollar June 19th and Iraq installing thousands of new ATMs with lower denoms. I think there's a huge financial change about to take place. And honestly, by the time we post this, maybe within 2 weeks of this post, so literally like we're ahead of the curve right now. Like, you know, and this is supposed to be going on for quite some time, years people have been waiting. But I'm saying never before has there been so many changes and never before did Saudi Arabia drop the petrodollar.
I know.
Okay. You know what I mean? That's new. That's not like, oh, that's always, no. They just dropped the petrodollar. So what's the value going to happen to our money in the United States? How are we protecting ourselves? You know, for me, you know, obviously I know with you too, and this is kind of going to go in a 360, you know, gold, silver, some sort of asset that's not going to be devalued is where you would want to do it. Quick answer for everyone. Like, what do I do? Second thing I would say right now is I think whatever, if it was a military op that has been taking place for the last 3 or 4 years, which we have both heard, and, you know, there is some strange things where there are certain politicians that kind of disappear for a couple weeks at a time. There are things like that going on that we pick up on. I do feel that there is a military operation going on and has been. And I do feel that maybe once this stuff is kind of come to full terms or once this crash happens or whatever it is, they might then come out and say, this is what's really been going on behind the scenes. Because to crash a financial system, especially the Fed and the SWIFT system that's been around for 100 plus years, you know, I think it's like 100 years these guys have been doing this shenanigans. And when we got taken off the gold standard by Tricky Dick, right, in the 70s, I just feel like it's not so much about the political ramifications in this moment. Obviously, the soul and lifeblood of America wants to be free, wants to be sovereign, and wants all of these tyrannical controls removed. Everyone I know wants the reality that we had, 20, 30 years ago. We don't want this shit. And considering that 9/11 was an inside job and we were forced into a war and all this BS, I think a lot of people, especially our age, dude, we're over being lied to. And that's why I think us indigos, we don't believe the narrative. We think these guys are completely full of shit. Me and you are calling out chroma key green screens behind the guys. We're seeing the mask.
Happening.
We're seeing the mask on the neck. I'm like, I mean, we're from the industry, bro. We can tell when you're wearing a mask. So, for a lot of people that may not have that particular background, they can't spot it. Me and you are like hawks. I'm watching the whole thing. I'm like, come on. It's so cheesy. It's ridiculous. So what do I see really coming? A fake shock and awe campaign. I'm not saying there won't be a real show of power. And I know that's what's going on overseas in Ukraine and NATO and all this stuff. And everyone's getting huffy puffy and all this stuff. I do see a higher power and a higher reality being revealed. But I do see that people are going to have to shake the ones that are really holding on to what used to be. The ones that are really just like, this is how it has to be. I can't take it. Those people that are going to really lose their beans. Even if you showed them a 4-hour video of the perp doing something, they still wouldn't believe it. You know what I mean? Like these
too attached.
They're too attached to the
or whatever.
Yeah, because then they would have to look at themselves and question their own intelligence, which not many people want to do. Their own belief systems. So is there a happier way to get through this and navigate through this maze of consciousness and get the highest outcome? So that's really what I think our upper dimensionals and our spirit teams are really trying to say is like, hey, we get that you guys are awake. We get that you guys are helping the collective. We get that you guys are opening minds and hearts. But remember, you can lead a horse to water. You can't make him drink. No matter how many things we show and how many data points and how much references we show, it's ultimately going to be up to the person to choose their heart, their intelligence, their intuition over the hypnotism from the television. And a lot of people find comfort in just sitting on their couch and having the whole world just displayed in front of them on a screen. And then you have some sort of false narrative confidence that you know what's going on because you watch MSNBC for 8 hours a day. Like you're in the know. Yeah. And it's a weird thing that's happened to us as a people, utilizing these technologies. And I don't really hold any judgment. What I can say is that change is hard. It takes a certain level of free will and will in general to make those changes. But if you really want the world to change, you got to get off your ass and make it happen. And I think that's really what we do. And people can do it in their own way, being in a good mood, giving someone a hug, seeing someone helping them out, making a video, art display, giving to charity, whatever it is. Right now, though, is not the time to spread any sort of weird distraction narrative that takes away from people actually coming back into a balanced place. You can remove some of the stuff that with the metal detox, EDTA, zeolite helps a lot. NAC helps, high potency vitamin C, echinacea golden seal, and stay on it. I mean, you can detox this stuff that they've done to you. And I think that a lot of people's bodies,
your spiritual purpose, that's what matters in this life.
Yeah.
Because you could have not taken it. And not be doing crap here and be like, I don't care about my destiny and my work here. And the universe is like, okay, we got a lot of souls that want to come in here.
Yeah. No,
it doesn't matter at the end of the day which one you got, because if you didn't or you did it, because if you're not in your spiritual purpose, what's going on? What are you doing here?
No, yeah. So anyways, I mean, back to, and that's why I think, some of the original OGs, that have been at this for a hot second. I've been doing this for 15 years. It's funny. And I notice how even on FluffTube and certain social platforms, they really do hide us because they know if people find us, that we're going to talk them right out of the illusion as quick as possible. And that's really what it is. I know you had to develop your own app, High Vibe TV, your own platform, and you had to work very diligently to create that. You know what I mean? Just to have a place
where work. It's like,
I mean, and all the updates, like every time they do an update, you got to update the whole thing. So.
Yeah. And staying aligned with all these crazy regulations and rules. But if you
Right.
think like the Alex Jones thing, right? Like today, they're liquidating everything. It's gone.
Hmm.
That's as of today.
Yeah.
So it's weird though, because so if he has a conspiracy, he has a question about, they go after him. Well, that just opened I think they used Alex Jones not for what we think, like to come after people like us, to use that as, you told people to go get this that does damage to people now.
Ooh, I see what you're
You
saying.
see what I mean?
Yeah. It could be flipped.
That it was used for the flip.
Gotcha.
Because that's real misinformation.
Ooh, that's
It
a
causes
good one.
death and
Yes.
physical harm, right? So that's why I think we're seeing that.
Right. And the truth is, like, just to end with this, like, for our friends and family, literally, that did choose to get it, we love you. Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
100.
we love you. And, honestly, from our hearts, we wish that didn't take place. And we wish that you may have listened, or like I said, there are certain people that may be easier to be hypnotized or easier to be in fear, especially the older generation, because they didn't want to lose all of their hard work, their house, their job, and everything that they'd worked very diligently for. So they took this thing. We get that. What we're trying to say is that these people that took this thing, they weren't the ones out there telling you to get it. They were that was the effect of those pushing it. What we're trying to say is that there was an equal and opposite effect of other people that were trying to save you at the same time. And maybe in retrospect, in the present moment, to realize that I would roll with the people that actually have your best interest in mind.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say. I mean, we don't,
shaming. We're not shaming. Nobody's shaming.
No one's shaming, but because it's still an emotional thing, because there's still people living with that and the damage it's done right now. I mean, it's still going.
Yes.
It's not
and
like,
I think that's what's weird about this reality is, like, maybe those people got it because that's what helps us start the revolution.
And a revolution, I mean,
does everything physical, right? So if you're happy and you got that thing and you do your spiritual work and you have your purpose, I really don't see a problem.
Right.
And you gotta get out of that fear thing if you got it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I could see how fast, like, if I got it, I would have been that would have been hell for me.
With your hyper analytical brain, you would have been like, oh,
like, oh my god, something's happening. Like,
I feel something happening to me right now.
Yeah. But I would have to learn at that moment, shit. Instead of being in the fear, I'm gonna have to come back to the love of myself and loving this journey and going, okay, this is part of my journey, and learning to accept.
So I think a positive thing to say would be, now that we've kind of gone through this together, I would just hope that even anyone listening to this, if they come out with another BS thing, to steer clear of it. You know what I mean? Like, how many times do you need, like, some sort of reflection to be like, yeah, I'm not going to trust what they say this time. And if that's really literally the best thing that could have happened for the masses, is like, yeah, I don't trust it. My mom got sick. I lost my dad, whatever it is. I mean, we all have personal stories of this. Is that I hope that the next time there's some weird thing that they roll out, that we don't fall for it. That's all. I mean, that'd be the only positive thing we could do.
I think a lot of it's going to be the draft stuff, what it says astrologically. But what if the revolution is, because you're going to have to get off you're going to have to get off fluff tube. Let's
be honest. Do you really think
Graham? Okay, and flock, because that's how if you go look up selectiveservice.gov, they spent the last 3 years, when the emergency was created, they were funneling the money in there to do the whole new system. So this is not like, oh, they just decided. This has all been pre-planned, and it was all based off social media. If you look at the records, it's on their site. That means they know where everybody who just registered for Selective Service, where they live, what sites they're on, what social media they're on, who they're connected with, all their friends are, so they can't be any dodging. The only way off will be to throw your phone away and disconnect all of their...
so you're saying the draft dodgers, they're already researching all of you, so there is no... Data. They're like, oh, you think that you're too sick to do this? Well, here's you wakeboarding in Lake Havasu.
every message, every story you put up, who you talk to in your DMs. Go look it up on selectiveservice.gov.
Whoa, I had no idea they were taking it to that
That's
level.
what they did starting in 2021.
Oh my goodness.
So
That's
and it's
crazy.
all on their website. You can look at where the money went to, and then they're bragging about, most that generation, 18 to 26, is on Snapchat, TikTok.
Well, here's my
So
question.
you
Let's
have
be
all that, right? So, but then they have it in there. If you're the parent or the brother, the sister, the best friend, if you try to help, they have your data on social media of being like, go to this house, I'll meet you there. You're going to have to get off all the platforms
Wow.
in that kind of a scenario.
You know what's crazy? I mean, this is the first time I've heard about that. I hope the younger generation can literally someone snip that part you just said. There's a lot of people that have no idea. That's the first time I've heard that. They actually doing background checks based upon who you are in your age category.
Selectiveservice.gov, and look at the physical years 2021, 2022, 2023, and look at they're 7-8 page PDFs of how they're going to do it, and it's all in there. It's public. The dark always puts out what they're going to do.
Here's my thing, though. Do you really think us in our generation? I know me and you are too old for the draft. Okay, I think we're on the
old.
Yeah, but
I mean, in World War II, they actually pushed it up to the 40s and all that.
Well, what I'm trying to say is, though, I mean, oh man, I don't per se see that reality playing out.
I know them try to.
I think that I see them try to do it.
The pandemic, right?
Yeah, I see them trying.
Right?
I just really don't see, especially with this particular generation. It's not, Vietnam generation. It's not it's a different generation that they would try to do this draft. I think that they have a very difficult time trying to convince the kids now that have access to the internet since they're 6 years old and have probably watched every conspiracy video theory out there on TikTok across the world. I think there's a lot of more, I have to give a little more credit due per se to the intelligence, hopefully, of the younger generation and those that actually do pay attention. Obviously, there is different pockets of those that are, special sauce,
True.
But those that are actually paying attention, I can say that.
I mean, they're going to get alert on their social media.
Yeah. Hey, you've been drafted?
Yeah.
No way. You have a new message from Instagram. You've been drafted.
Yes. And it's going to have the whole, this is your parameters. You must report at this MEPS, military entrance processing, at your local.
I hope you've talked about this.
I hope I've been talking about this, and people just are flamingoing their head in the sand. And I'm preparing parents how to get their kids out because right now I can say it, right? But because it's not.
We should just tell people to create a fake account. If you're not an influencer and you're making money off that thing, you're a normal person. I would flip, cut, and delete those apps and create a fake account. I don't know. That's pretty gnarly.
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole thing is people are going to have to get off these platforms.
I never saw what a crazy sidestep. I never saw that. You know what I mean? Why did all these kids get up? Oh, because they're getting drafted from the grant. That's how they're finding you and messaging you.
Right. And then if you think of the Revolutionary War, right? What happened to all the loyalists? All their homes, all the revolutionary, right? All of us that were on the team of freedom,
right?
The Continental Army took all the properties. So during the negotiations after America won and became, we didn't even become America. We were still figuring out what we were, right? That the debates that were happening in France were the English were saying, we are having all of the loyalists losing all their properties and their homes. And the Americans, because it took 66 days to get a message across the oceans, just took everything they could and kicked them all out of their homes.
Whoa.
And then a lot of them. So I use astrology to remind people that it's not crazy to think that all these crazy people that are doing crazy shit out there with the money stuff that you're talking about, there's something weird going on because Yeah, Saudi Arabia doesn't sign the contract. It was 50 years ago. And ironically,
They did not renew it.
Do
Nope.
it. And then, he's out of office. He quits office. Like, what? Like,
Yeah,
all
so-
of it is like, wait, what? Okay. Like, and now where does it all go? Human beings are the currency for this new idea.
Well, I think it's always kind of been the human beings are the currency, even with the
Correct.
invention of the Social Security number. It's always been based upon the value of the human.
Well, and then think about, and I'll bring in the AI. Right now, Hollywood, we'll use that as one example. They are tripping balls. Ashton Kutcher came out and went, I'm using OpenAI Sora and I can make a whole movie, direct it, and I don't even need to pay for it. So all the studios have backed up. They're not buying big films right now. They're not paying for big actors. They're all sitting back and going, how are we going to use this, right? And that's why the whole actors strike did not work, because they didn't get all the AI provisions they wanted. They thought, oh, well, let's just get back to work. It's been the worst year of recorded history of Hollywood right now. But then you go to all the other jobs, all these office jobs, all these corporate jobs. AI right now is
right.
Every company has moved out of software, and you have your GPT or not. That's kind of like how you survive.
Right.
Where's everybody going to go? Why is NATO and all the European countries all saying it's time to draft? UK, conscription, 18 years old. That's what they're trying to push right now. They don't have jobs. They don't have the money either to pay for the Social Security, because that's all money for years ahead that we owe that we don't have.
Right. So
we either all pull away from it and be like, we're not part of your system.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to be an influencer, it's kind of like you created your own thing. Team Light's its own thing. You go to a website, it's your own thing. You're not reliant upon only just being on FluffTube.
Yeah, no, and that would be totally, I can't imagine that. I mean, I think even when we load these videos, we're going to 7 platforms simultaneously.
Exactly.
It's not, so you can't just afford to be on one platform anymore. It wouldn't even be safe. All you gotta do is cancel one platform, and then I think all of us that have been in this game, speaking truth, I think it's wise to be on, hey, have a Rumble account. Hey, be on Facebook. Hey, have a StreamYard. Hey, whatever. Be on Twitch, Gram, YouTube, multiple channels. But the more,
world where there's always a slip crack. The slip crack's going to be, what do you mean you drafted me? I didn't get your Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube notification, and I didn't get the notification on TV because they don't mail anything anymore.
Really?
No.
So is that because, here's my
thing. About it. But
is it even
gone? Right.
No, but I think it's even deeper than that. I think it's deeper than that. So the post office, right? The postmaster, I'm friends with Chief Russell. I think since the post, every time he could explain it way better than me, but since this kind of
during the currency change was the U.S. Post Office changed to be a corporation outside the government, and it no longer had an executive role with being an actual person that's in the executive top people.
Mm-hmm.
It's
I think that the post office, and I think obviously, we rock the Republic of the United States. Right. We're not about that other corporation that was created in the facade that we've been lied to about since its creation. So I do think, though, that if the post office ain't mailing those out, and I think it's a deeper meaning of a fake conscription. Here's my thing. Is it a fake conscription to fight for the U.S. corporation, not the Republic? And if the U.S. corporation owns Instagram and Facebook
exactly.
That's what it is. So it's not a part of our.
I'm not on that. I'm sorry.
Whoa! So you're saying it's like
Show me my read receipt. Show me that my IP address got that notification.
And how many people are going to fall for that? They're going to fight for the U.S. corporation, the defunct, bankrupt corporation.
Exactly. That's part with NATO and part with all them.
Wow! What a mind meld.
And why do you think it's so addictive for young kids? They feel like they're not accepted in the world if they're not an influencer. There was an article last week that came out. It was like, everybody wants to be an influencer, right? And all the
Right.
young kids out of high school, the number one thing they want to be is there is no more, I want to be a fireman. No, it's just, I want to be an influencer. So it just came out, right? And
That's crazy.
72 or something percent of influencers don't make money. They're still living on their mom's couch, whatever, right?
Right.
Like the ones that actually make money in a business got in a long time ago during Uranus when it went to Aries, right? 2010 was like our year to be like, okay,
Yep.
go for it.
Yeah. Literally
No,
since 2010.
That's the
Yeah.
year that Uranus went to Aries and everybody was like, you can do this, you do this now. You got the ping.
I do feel though that, it's the market's been really saturated. You know what I mean?
That's what
It's oversaturated, and I'm just like, here's the thing, because I talk to some older spiritual people that are very gifted, very powerful, very talented people, but it's like they didn't catch the 2010 wave, and they're still behind, even though they're the ones that actually have the truth to share. It's like they're stuck in the background. You know what I mean? And I literally, I interview them or I take them to the front, and I'm like, hey, speak your truth right here. But that's very interesting, though, that even right now, I do feel that with some of our accounts and with some of the content we talk about, they know per se, we are not controllable people. We literally are for the Republic. We literally are for sovereignty. We literally are for freedom, and we're not purchasable. So to them, all they can do is slow us down, but they can't stop us. That's the whole thing. They can't,
I agree.
they can't, and so we have to keep getting more creative. And I do think that using different technology things to stay ahead of the curve, yes, whatever that may be, as far as like entertainment goes, yeah. When it starts to getting jabbed with weird nanotech stuff, no. When it comes to, just absolutely not. And, in Peru, I don't know if you saw the video, they're pulling down all the 5G towers in Peru.
And in London, because they have cameras about, like, if you have an older vehicle, right, that's not emissions proof, they pull you off the road with cameras. There's guys going around chopping all those big cameras and scanners out right now, too.
Oh, I'd like to think that the UK still has some old boys and some old women. I like that. We're going to take down the cameras. I'm like, hey, that's freaking cool.
Realize in the UK,
they're badasses.
They are bad, like that. I always tell people, if you were to go to the UK, like there are people there that like there's hardcore people.
They're about it. They're like, they're about it. Yeah.
And I think that's about how we all come together is like, I think it's going to be like a revolution of like, I'm off all that shit.
Right.
Right. Because think about this, why are they trying to ban TikTok? Because what I did this in my head. I'm like, they don't have TikTok on the selective service thing. Well, it's not owned by America. America doesn't have an invested interest. That's why they're forcing a ban in order for an American company to send you the notification.
Bro, this is so gnarly that you're bringing this up. I literally am going to like chop this. So this is like, because that information you just shared, people need to know, because people have kids. People have teenagers. They need to know that.
I've given crazy ways of like, if your kid just graduated, why don't they go work for Raytheon right now? It's just like an intern, because if it happens, I already work for a military company.
Hey, why don't I go work in El Segundo?
Yeah, right. Or Skunk Works. Like, right? In California, the biggest firepower for the military is all in California. It's not anywhere else.
No, I know.
Right?
No, dude, all the industry, Navy, TRW, Northrop, right? It's all right there.
All of the companies that do it are here. So that's the irony. Skunk Works with the new B-21 bomber is, right? Like, that's all here.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you've been noticing in all the planes, all of the defense, all the choppers, all the big refuelers, everything is on the East Coast. There's nothing on the West Coast.
Yeah, it's very interesting. And there's huge troop movements going through Louisiana where people were filming tanks on the trains.
Yeah,
just heading towards the east. I think there's going to be something that's going to go down in New York on the East Coast. There's something going down.
Yeah, I mean during the Revolutionary War, that was the gut punch of Washington. We lost York. That was like the first thing.
Yeah, so I think that's...
and then it was Philadelphia.
Actually, dude, funny you say that. Last night, I actually was meditating, and I was like, I played the image of the tanks going, towards the east through Louisiana, and they're like New York. Like my dudes were like New York. I don't know when it's going to go down, but if they do have something staged over there, or something is going to go on, or maybe there is something to control something when maybe some news comes out or people revolt. And here's the thing too, if you have a bunch of sleeper cells in a big city that have been stacking people, as far as a sanctuary city state up there, and all these people, what I'm saying is, I think we're tapping into something right now. I think we're literally my guys are tripping out. No, I think that to remove some of those sleeper cells that are there in those buildings right now, and whatever maybe the NATO and the UN had planned to do to get us into a war similar to what they did in 01, there's something going on where I think the White Hats or the military there's something about to pop off in New York. And it's going to be like, maybe that's the boom that everyone keeps feeling. Like, what is this thing? I think there's something going to pop off on the East Coast. And I think it's going to be, it's going to be something in New York, DC.
Because we both are in agreement the media has been using green screen and everything, and that includes during the pandemic. So it's like, why did they sell everybody to go to Florida and Texas? Probably to get them to not go to New York. Then LA is the home of the 2028 Olympics. So you remember LA to get to LAX on Century, right? It's just like that McDonald's. That's the two-story McDonald's. And then now it's just empty, right? Like, because they're building a tram that you will never be able to like pull somebody into LAX. They want by the 2028 Olympics to have you drop people off and then they take a tram, right?
Oh, okay.
Boulevard is just going to be a tram to the airport.
Really?
Yeah. So, and then it will go straight to like downtown, like that, for the Olympics. So, like, what they did was they propagated LA and the COVID thing so hard to get people to leave so they could just go in and bulldoze, which has happened.
That did happen. Yeah.
And that did happen. So then we have the Olympics in a month in Paris, France. And where we're at astrologically is when Hitler invaded France.
Interesting.
So something about this Olympics, and when you just brought up, you said probably 2 weeks, so we're recording this at the end of June. My astrology is saying around July 21st and the 22nd, that's when Venus returns to where it went direct during the first retrograde in Leo since the 1700s.
Okay, got it.
Right? It's finally going to do a full circle and really be like it's on. And the big oppositions to Pluto, and we're coming into some really wild. Saturn is retrograding this weekend. Neptune's retrograding the weekend following. That the world's going to start feeling that weird when we come into summer, like everything's going, and then wait, why is it going backwards?
Well,
and it's all, and then we have the debate, which that's how you know this is fake. They're doing a debate for a presidential election with two candidates who are not candidates yet. They are not the official Republican or Democratic nominees.
Right. It's true.
And it's being done not with what started in 1987, right? The Presidential Commission for Elections and doing the debates, right?
That I find interesting is I think it's a setup. Everyone's thinking November. They're not thinking like 2 weeks from now. You know what I mean? Everyone's like, oh, the chaos. And they're not thinking like, no, in 3 weeks, like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, it's on. And everyone's projecting this November timeline. And that's how I feel like, a lot of people said that there wouldn't be a 2024 election, like what's going to happen. Right. I think that potentially the deep state knows that Trump's going to crush him or whatever this is, no matter how you slice that bread. No one's fighting for Biden, even Democrats.
I know.
And, I do like Junior, JFK Jr. He's cool. So, but I think that they know that. So they switch plans. They're like, well, that's not going to work out. We're going to have to do something drastic. We're going to have to do something where, in a time of war, there is no election to try to hold on to power. Right. I just think that there's a lot of really hip military dudes in the Republic that also know that's their plan and are moving into counter. So
I agree. And I think we have to say that positive is like their illusion doesn't work. And it won't work, but it will still. You got to be careful to not be sucked up in because they're just trying to take your energy at the last.
How do they do it? Oh, they said some
day, like without a meal, And they're like, well, I'll take the ketchup packets at this point.
Hey, if
Don't be a ketchup packet.
if it gets crazy out there, I've got all kinds of space food, water. I got big bags of black beans and rice. Like, you know,
Honestly, I always tell people if it happens, it'll be the best show of our lives to be part of. It'll feel like fuck VR, bro.
yeah,
You
it's
know, like,
yeah.
Video game you ever played at the same time.
Yeah, it's called survival and then cognitive ability, right?
Silent Hill meets Call of Duty meets Mario. Like what? Like,
I don't know Silent Hill. First of all, don't throw that in there. Oh my goodness! Listen,
that one,
yeah, I know. I
PlayStation, and I played that with like my cheap boss.
It'll scare. It still scares you. It's still scary.
Out of me, I couldn't even play the game. I remember being like, "Wow, I'm not playing the game." That was too scary. I was like,
I played a little bit. I was like, return it. I'm glad I didn't buy it. No, but with that, brother, what I can share is that I don't think the population is gonna I'm sorry. I don't think the population is gonna fall for having the wool pulled over their eyes. There's too many people in too many Western world countries, and everyone's talking, everyone's sharing information, and obviously the whole planet. You know, we're all one unit. My thing is that whom does this serve, and can these guys behind the scenes, whether it be white hat, positive military, republic guys, sovereign beings, whatever it may be, upper dimensionals, do we have to repeat some sort of weird shit show when a majority of the population is awake and is not only resisting, but does not want to have any more of our energy or time wasted babysitting a bunch of people that were never meant to have the power in the first place? See, that's where I get kind of like heated. I'm like, you're wasting my experience sitting here staring at you. That's something that a lot of people need to find within themselves is these people doing this weird shit, fighting over Babylonian money magic and putting zeros and ones and creating this whole menagerie of illusion are stealing your experience. It's not just your money or your financial gain or your food. No. Your experience. We could be a class 1 civilization if we had full disclosure 50 years ago. We would have flying cars. We would have 0-point technology. We would have shuttles that take us through the stars in our local star system. What I'm getting to is never forget what they're truly after is to keep the population dumbed down and controllable to steal your experience while the elites get to enjoy all the bells and whistles and anti-aging things that this entire technological renaissance has provided. So I just wanted to end with,
Why did OpenAI do a deal with Apple and Microsoft owns OpenAI, right? So all the new iPhone, every part of your Apple is going to be AI.
And Musk said you're not allowed to step in the building with an iPhone. You got to put it in a Faraday box on your entry.
But he says that while at the same time, like Microsoft owns OpenAI, and so every Microsoft product and all the Android stuff already has all of that stuff too.
I just want to give everyone a heads up on the SHA 256-bit encryption on Bitcoin. 5 years ago, when I was kind of involved with the crypto more heavily, what I can say is that some of the head dudes at these exchanges said, we are concerned with quantum computers. Just so everyone knows, the NVIDIA stuff was on the right, and then they had the Bill Gates one, which is a quantum computer. Just so you guys are clear, a quantum computer can hack the 256-bit SHA code for the encryption. So
in 2 seconds.
So what I'm getting to, be very careful putting all of your eggs in the crypto basket without diversifying. That's all I wanted to say.
Yeah, and having your own ledgers that you have control
offline ledgers, hard wallets.
Exactly. And having your hard assets. And I think that's where, when you brought up the elitist thing, like that's why all the money of venture capital has gone into AI. That's all. It's gone into all. That's why you're not seeing dudes in Lambos anymore. Like, look at my new app, bro. It's just, it's a startup, bro. That's gone.
No,
it's all in AI because they're building everything in API level, GPT level of just every business, and like you're selling your unique code of what you do into the system.
Right. As soon as any human being steps on the gas, especially us starseeds or angelics or whatever you want to see, and you start breaching these walls of reality, and your awareness kicks on, and your third eye turns on, and your throat chakra turns on, and your heart turns on, and you start perceiving more data than people that are, say, asleep or that you would say are less vibratory, you're going to see, feel, and deal with a lot of things that aren't written in these books. You're going to see and have to deal with things that really are about, hey man, we kind of pick our avatar when we come down here. Like, you guys all chose to be in these human avatars.
Yes.
If we are on a different planet, you would choose the avatar that's habitable to that planet.
Yes.
We happen to be in these avatars, right? All looking the same for the most part. And that's what you chose in this level of experience. So if you take it there, it kind of takes off all the tense, and it's so crazy. It's so tense. Like, hey, we're on Earth. These are the suits you wear here. You wanted to incarnate on Earth. You got to choose a human avatar, okay? Unless you want to be a tiger or something. You know, you want to be a human. Here's your avatar. I mean,
doesn't applaud you because you put it in a better way than I can put it, right? Like,
yeah, it's like, you know, you go to
that's what I'm trying to say without being able to say it the way that you were able to just say it.
That's all I'm trying to say. So, I mean, if we're, if space traveling, interstellar travel for certain species is real, the Pleiadians, the Nords, definitely, when they travel to a planet, they're doing, what's the O2? What's the nitrogen? What's the gravity? Okay, these are the suits that you can wear on this particular planet. If you're not up to that, you have to wear a spacesuit. And all of a sudden you just go, oh, it's kind of like that. They're like, yeah, dude, we're all made of different things. We're all stardust, but every single planet has a different atmosphere.
Yes.
So this is what you guys look like on Earth. And if you kind of just open the bread box with that, all the race and weird shit drops away. And that's what they don't want that. They want, oh, this is all there is. We've been fighting over here for thousands of years.
No more, but what's working is they're playing the religion card with the war right now.
I think it's going to fall upon deaf ears, and I think that everyone over there, I think even the stuff over there in, the Rothschilds own Israel, 1948.
Right.
They have the piece of the parchment. Or that area they purchased. What I'm getting to is that I really hope the population wakes up to and actually points the finger or turns their attention to the smaller groups of beings that are actually responsible for this, and not to go
to the people who have nothing to do with
it and not hurt. Yeah. And just if we could switch our focus and kind of, and I'm not saying it has to be in a physical combatant way. The moment that every single human being or the beings down here say, yeah, that's enough, we're not doing that anymore. Yeah, that's enough, we won't buy your products. Yeah, that's enough. Anything with this logo on it, we're going to burn, and we're going to throw away and burn. All of a sudden, in that moment, without having a big violent thing, their whole power structure collapses. So it can be done in two different ways. I do think that there are a lot of people that are pissed off and they do want to put their dukes up and they do want a piece of these jackasses. I do. But what I'm trying to say is, for how do we ultimately win, where 20 years from now, we look back on these dates and we think to ourselves, wow, like the future is pretty freaking awesome. And like, I cannot believe we were under so much manipulation, brainwashing. I cannot believe that they still allowed frequency warfare back then. They still allowed, like right now, they're making it like that stuff's not real. Oh yeah, frequency warfare, it's like they're playing like, oh, that was before that was outlawed. Like we're playing in some weird time where we don't even know what's happening to us. We're guinea pigs. 20 years in the future, after everything is cleaned up, we're going to look back on these days going, wow, I can't believe we survived that. They poisoned us. They poisoned the air. They poisoned the food. They tried to jab us. Like we got there's a lot of things coming at us. So I just say for the future to hold, truly, I feel the future is bright. And I think that, even with this talk with you, brother, it's a base average of we want a better world, and it's a base average of we actually deserve better, and it's a base average of we need to take our power back. And the easiest way to do that is to turn this TV off with these people, stop paying them, stop giving them money, stop giving them any sort of attention, and treat them like the mentally ill patients they are. Truly.
Yeah, because it's about humanity.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about picking a side right now. And my last concern would be, like, you see that in the spiritual community, how many people bow out, go, I'm turning Christian, or I'm going to put on a hijab now.
Right.
And go out there and fight.
You know, whatever's in their
it's
journey.
all part of a program, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the thing is that if you could choose your, like, the truth is like an old Jedi way of doing it, especially in Sedona.
They don't wear much. They just wear a simple color and just show up. And they have their cool fucking lightsaber, whatever badass color they got. Yeah. And they represent the Republic, and they represent all tribes of all aliens, of all people in the whole galaxy and the universe. And they don't give a fuck about, and they don't even like the politics. They're like, I don't trust that senator.
And the truth is because you know why they're allowed in anywhere is because everyone knows that, one, they're unbrainwashable.
Yes.
But two, they hold themselves in a place of integrity that many beings cannot. Right. It's different, like the amount of training, the amount of meditation, the amount of things to do these supernatural. It's so beyond a normal person. The amount of focus to do it.
Well, and then they have where they might have disagreements, but they come to find agreement.
Yes.
And our lightworker community, that's why it was so great that Team Light did the solar eclipse event, because it brought in a lot of different of the tribes in the lightworker community. That's where we have to start doing more of that, because we got to look at it as a council where we all might have some different
round table, bro.
We have the most in common.
Yes.
To deal with this stuff.
100%. You know, Team Light's a round table. There is no, there's no pyramid structure here. Everyone's an equal. Everyone has their own slice of this round table, this pizza, or not pizza, this apple pie, I should say. And, everyone has their own territory. No Diddy over here.
What do you mean? I thought we were doing
no LeBron, no Diddy over here.
Oh my
God. But what I'm trying to say is that everyone has their own territory. Everyone has their own way in which they deliver information. The point is every single different area has different things that they're going through.
Yep.
So it's for the council, the group, right, to figure out if you are going through something similar or something in your territory with certain energies you're dealing with, to call upon, and we can support that person. And I think that's truly how, now if you think about territories as countries, all of a sudden this place gets real small. I got a lot of homies in Australia and New Zealand that need our help. In the UK, there's a lot of homies in France, Team Light Australia. We're spread out. Canada, there's a huge, family of us. And it's just time that we come together, and it's time to also give everyone a heads up. I think your dissertation on watch out for the Instagram thing with your kids if they're over 18, people need to know that. I mean, that's something you need. That's something.
Go themselves to Selective Service. Just type in Selective Service Gov on Google. Go to the website and go look at the PDFs. It's on their website what they've been doing with social media through the pandemic. On purpose, like that's how they set this up.
Got it. No, I think that's a key piece. And as far as the thing going on the East Coast somewhere, whether it be DC, where I'm getting New York, whatever that is, inbound. That's an inbound show, let's just say.
Right.
And whatever that may be, I mean, there should be more eyes on the ground over there on exactly what's happening.
With no Biden mask to be found.
Right. No, I mean, listen, whoever that actor is playing, whatever the actor is.
That person won't be, or that entity, or that AI.
Yeah, but dude, didn't his granddaughter on video straight say that's not my granddaddy? My granddad died 3 years ago. Did you see that video?
Yeah, I saw that video. But
like, I don't know what to think of it. I mean, I don't know if that really was his granddaughter, but I'm just trying to say, like, that would kind of make sense. And then obviously we know he's wearing a mask. Whoever that is, we know. So I think there's 3 different versions. One that just kind of looks like that. It's super old and like mentally, gone. And then there's 2 other versions they kind of put the mask on. I don't think.
Yeah, it's just and then they have like an AI version, and then they have like a weird like.
They keep switching it up.
Yeah, it's really creepy.
No, it's super creepy. But with that, brother, I just want you to know I love and appreciate you. Where can people find you?
highvibe.tv, or they can check out astromystic.ai, the new spiritual astrology AI that's mind-blowing.
Nice. And I am Rion. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been an absolute pleasure having you guys on our show today. Till next time, peace.
Well done, everybody. We can collectively take credit for that because we worked as a team. We use our hearts and our minds to defeat the enemy with minimal loss or damage.
Take me far away.
I like to picture Jesus in a tuxedo t-shirt because it says like, I want to be formal, but I'm here to party too. Because I like to party, so I like my Jesus to party.
I like to picture Jesus as a ninja fighting off evil samurai.
I like to think of Jesus like with giant eagle's wings and singing lead vocals for Leonard Skinner with like an angel band.